Welcome, Sagittarius. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot, getting ready to do a reading for you. Whatever Spirit has to show, I am channeling for you today, and we're going to start with the wild unknown archetype, the cave, which is incredibly synchronous with a collective reading that I did. In which an image of the cave has been coming towards me. And I'm just now seeing the eyes in the darkness behind the cave. The cave is shaped more or less like a body. So I'm going to read from the guidebook. And the other titles for the cave are The Dark, The Portal, and The Interior. Those who persevere and journey to find and enter the cave are changed forever. It's a place of potent power, a portal to another realm, a space for sacred ritual and initiation. The cave is a place to return for meaningful retreat, where one can see the true self in the darkness. The cave is known to reside in the center of the heart, and within its walls the whispers of compassion and self-understanding can be heard. Yet because of its mystery and power, many of us fear the cave and never try to find it. Where is your cave? You already know. Return to it and tend the fire. And also, slowly and steadily within the cave, crystals of enormous magnitude grow within the dark confines of caves. Let the cave teach you patience. So what I'm getting from this card is that for those of you I'm reading for today, you're already in the cave. You've been in the cave for a while. And there are a number of factors that are pulling you into the cave and others that are pulling you outside, and you're resisting the outside pull to abandon the cave. What is curious for many of you is that your life would never be perceived or conceived as this interior retreat in the darkness. Everything about your energy and your temperament seems to be about pursuing the wild unknown. But you find yourself having journeyed to this place, not intentionally moving towards the cave, but finding yourself on your intentional journey at the cave and feeling oddly comfortable there. It's a place for you to find relief and some comfort from the tremendous amount of changes that you've been activating in your life. And this is also a place where you're aware that you need the stillness, you need the sacredness. No matter how intentional your healing path has been, achieving a space of not busyness, of calm, of relaxation, of leisure, of temporary respite even is difficult for you to achieve in your life. Even taking a day off here and there, taking short trips, there's a feeling that you need to always be busy. So within that structure of your daily life, you're allowing yourself to inhabit this cave, and it feels very unlike you, but very much about fitting yourself or expanding yourself to accommodate the power that you're feeling within your heart. So this does focus on the heart, and the glyph oracle that came up is the heart and love. And the key, the number 30 reduces to a 3, of course, the number of the Empress. So this, in many ways, I think of the Empress as being the heart's energy of giving and receiving, achieving this balance. And there is some recognition for those of you that I'm speaking to that you have held back your heart in many ways, that you're still learning how to activate your heart / your power to unleash that, to not feel like you have to hold back, that you're not always vigilant around all the dangers, all the risks that you've experienced as the result of being free with your heart. And that period of your life feels as though it is behind you. So now, as you become more acquainted with the power of your love, the power of your creative gifts, your imagination, all the ways that you participate in the world, that you contribute as expressions of love, are more controlled because you recognize the power you have, and that you simply can no longer allow others to take that power from you, or give you yourself actively giving it away as a way of finding approval, as a way of belonging, as a way of having friends or intimacy. That has not failed you. In fact, it has not worked for you. In fact, it has failed you. And you're now recognizing that the power of your love is much more, much greater than you could have ever imagined. And the cave almost is the respite, the retreat to experience that with only yourself. It feels like a preparation before you can move on towards some kind of goal or new manifestation, new experience of yourself in the world. In the present, we have the Lady of Swords, the Queen of Swords. And this is interesting because I do believe that despite the energy of your heart that you are navigating right now, I do believe that your ability to detach yourself from your emotions, which can be very active right now at the same time, just the conditions of the world we're in can evoke a lot of strong emotional responses. And that really does have something to do with the energy of Mars right now, the planet Chiron that is conjuncting it, and Pluto's station retrograde. So there is a strong response to everything in the world. And that in some ways is part of why the safety of this retreat is so important to you, where you can detach yourself from those feelings in order to release an old structure, an old series of beliefs that have guided you, even unwittingly, to this place you are now, to this place of, it's almost like you're shedding. You're shedding beliefs, expectations, pictures of yourself, an old version of yourself, particularly for those of you that are aging and maturing, that there necessarily is an old way you did things, an old way you thought about things, or an old way in which you experienced love in your life, the way you wanted that, the way you pursued that. And so the Lady of Swords is really allowing herself to pursue the ideas themselves, the ideas, the new beginnings, the truths that are in some ways very cutting. They're specifically cutting out and separating you from an old version that you've been dragging along for a while. And the past, we have the alchemist, the grand alchemist in some old decks, an old Egyptian deck I had, but this is temperance. And temperance is really the lifelong healing that is required of us to grow our health, to grow our grace, our equanimity, our ability to withstand the storms and the challenges of life. And despite the card, this is not easy work. to hold on to a sense uh, of clarity about your rightfulness to be where you are, to recognize that despite a storm, this too shall pass, that everything is always in fluid motion, that you're always recycling your resources, your energies, your skills and talents in calibration with opportunities that exist in the world. So this is a beautiful healing story of your life, and it feels as though this healing journey has been active for you for a very long time. It is built into the way that you approach life. And for many of you Sagittarians, the idea of shrugging off difficult experiences, always showing an optimistic face, is part of the way that you have coped with or masked the difficulties you've encountered. In the future, the Magician. This feels as though you are reconceiving of who you are and what your capacity is. So you're gaining, as this is in the immediate future, or wherever the future exists in your timeline, you are growing into a new perception of self and thus a new expression of that self-conception. So this feels less like manifesting a goal as it is in preparing yourself to inhabit a new version of yourself. And from that new version, manifestation is easy. It's easier, I should say. Saying manifestation is easy is very naive. Of course, to get to this place of understanding how to manifest what is aligned with you, for you, has taken a lot of work. And again, those of you I'm speaking to have been consciously working towards a kind of self-improvement, self-healing that contributes to a healed world, a world that can heal. And so I do believe that you were not prepared for this level of empowerment when you began this healing journey, or you had an illusion about what that could mean. Now the cave is bringing you to the place of actually owning this self-conception, this idea of who you are, this ability to populate the world, your community, with ideas that reflect a more potentially magical and creative opportunity, possibility for all involved. Sagittarius, if this is resonating for you, please like this video, subscribe to my channel. You are welcome to share this with others who might enjoy it or find some value in it, and I appreciate your comments. I love your appreciations and any feedback you have for me. It is all welcome. So I'm going to clarify the bottom line here with the the Temperance card in the past, and is the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. The Lady of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and the present two cards, please. The Four of Cups and the Five of Pentacles, and the Magician. Two cups, please. Two cards, please. The Four of Swords and the Ten of Swords. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the King of Wands. Interesting. So you're showing a very powerful leadership vibe to others. Others see you as powerfully inspired and motivated, and that motivates others. So this is not a mask. By no means. This is the way others see your bravery and ability to enjoy this self-imposed retreat. And so in the past, the Temperance card, I keep wanting to call this the Alchemist, so I will, is clarified by the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, you know how strong you are. And for many Sagittarians, the practical aspects of your temperament have been gaining power, have been practicing, have been engaged with your community, your circle, your work, the ability to nurture and support others, to manifest really highly productive results, making things better, amplifying a harvest. These are qualities that you've really worked on and come to recognize the value of. And this is telling me again that this is different from the way you perceived your best qualities or your destiny at a distant point in the past. The Knight of Swords is all about your willingness to upend all of your assumptions about who you were and what works for you, what's best for you. And the more that you experience this disconnect from what you thought you were, who you thought you were, and what you thought your life would be, the more you recognize how much you've learned, how much you have challenged your own assumptions, and how you have become a model for that in your life practice. You understand that our perceptions of the truth are often skewed by our conditioning, by what others want, and we don't have the experience when we're younger to be able to challenge that because we haven't had enough experience to know anything else. But you have now experienced that sense often enough to know that nothing, very little that you thought was your purpose, your destiny, your life, the conditions of your life, it's shaping up to be very different in a way that feels necessary and needed at this time on the planet. In the present, the Lady of Swords, the Queen of Swords is clarified by the Four of Cups and the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, there has been this dissatisfaction, I believe, with who you have come to be for many of you. Not that you aren't successful, you aren't feeling healthy or well, but again, there's this huge disconnect between the path that you were supposed to go on and the path that you have been on. And you are now recognizing that this is all towards the purpose of moving out of the lane that was prescribed for you, the way others thought your talents would be best expressed in the world so that you would be safe and protected and you could take care of yourself. However, your dissatisfaction with the status quo, your need to practice what real support looks like, support for being seen, being visible, being valuable just as you are, with the gifts that you have, is something you have been practicing for a very long time. And this is where your discernment comes into play. You've had to do some deep separation from the loving conditioning that you received, recognizing that it was not intended to be cruel or violent, even if there were times when you experienced that. It felt as though it came from people that were afraid for you and wanted you to be safe. However, the Sagittarians I'm speaking to have never prescribed to that. You are fearless, you are bold, you are adventurous, anything for a different experimental opportunity. And so you have been long familiar with the exploration of other opportunities, other ways to live. I call this card sometimes, and it's coming to me right now, the Maverick card. You always wanted to do things your own way, to do things differently. You tried things that no one else would try because you wanted to. And from every one of those things, you have learned something. And one of the things you're now realizing is that, oh, this was all preparation for this moment, when I can only be informed by my own heart, my own desire, my own experience. That's the only intelligence I need. In the future, the Magician clarified by a couple of swords here. So there feels like a pretty decent swords theme here. The Four of Swords, of course, is the precise approximation. Precise approximation, that's an oxymoron. Okay, the approximation of the cave. This is more the cave we enact without going so deeply into the cerebral realms or even the spiritual, otherworldly realms that I believe the cave exists within. The Four of Swords is more the way that we inhabit that on a regular routine basis, even if that is a period of retreat. So it feels like you're really milking this experience of the cave to its max. Because what you've learned is, despite all the beautiful talents and potential you have in the world, you still have a lot of unpacking to do. There's still a lot of anger in you. There's still a lot of frustration. There's more sadness and disappointment, so much more hurt as you've really opened up to seeing yourself in this darkness. And in fact, it feels as though the darkness is the only place you can truly allow yourself to admit to and accept the challenges you've faced and overcome. But these challenges, as you become more and more familiar with your role, your pattern, your responsibility, your part, the more the old self is sort of, I don't want to say killed off, but that's what I said, is sort of eliminated. You surrender to that, the old layers, the old, to me, this always looks like one of those Chinese soldiers that are like in armor that they dug up somewhere. So it's like these metal warrior types that are standing statue. It's as though the shell of who you were is long gone. Not the inside of you, the shell is gone. You are kicking it out, kicking it to the curb. There's no way that you have any alliance or connection with this old self. And that is where the new conception of the self is arising. And why this is not just a manifestation of something. This is a manifestation of who you are now. Let's get that feather back. Yes, so let's finish this up. And what flipped was the everlasting daisy, and the key word is fortitude. Be brave and dig deep. I love this. Thank you so much, Sagittarius, for being here with me today for this important message. Until next time, namaste.